recorded a single thing. Doing so good. Okay, step 1 says I need to make sure everything is on the same side of the equal sign. So that means that I need to move everything. I kind of like to have the m squared be positive, so I'm just going to keep that a as a positive. So I'm going to move everything that's on this side of the equal sign to the other side. Well, how do I move stuff from one side of the equal sign to the other side? I either add or subtract it, right? Whatever the opposite of what it is. So both the 7 and the 2 are positive, so I'm going to subtract them in this case. So I'm going to subtract 7m and subtract 2. 7m and subtract 2. So none of them are like terms, so I should get 4m squared minus 7m minus 2 equals 0. And then, let's see if we can do this. I know I'm not using the same colors, but we can use different colors here. So subtract 7m, right? And then subtract 2. So I've got 3 different colors. So I can say that A is going to equal 4, B is going to equal -7, and C is going to equal -2. So there's my A, B, and C. That's step 2, right? Identify A, B, and C. And then step 3 is substituted in to the quadratic formula. Well, the quadratic formula says x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And I'm going to tell you guys something. They're not going to give this to you on the test. You're going to have to know it. So if it's hard to memorize, which it is, it's a hard equation, right? If you go to YouTube, I swear to God, they probably have 6 or 7 different songs that this is to, and you can learn it to music, right? You guys learn to music pretty well. So you can learn it as a song to music. The one that it was originally to was Pop Goes the Weasel. Don't ask me because I never learned it that way, but that's how it was back in my day. But now they've got like some One Direction songs and some rap songs and some whatever type of music you want to listen to. They have this to that type of beat so you can learn the quadratic formula and it just gets in your head and you learn it. Okay, so just if you go to YouTube and Google the quadratic formula songs, put quadratic formula songs in there, and then a whole bunch will come up. And then you can pick the one you like and memorize it. Okay, so now I'm going to just substitute in, right? So I've got, what do I have? X equals minus b. Well, b is -7 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, and a is 4, and then times c, well, c is -2, all divided by 2 times a, which is 4. Okay, so now I substituted everything into my quadratic formula. Now I'm going to simplify, right? So I'm just going to start going from left to right here. So x is going to equal minus a minus is a +7, plus or minus. If this is part, so if everyone's okay to this part, and then you get confused when I start simplifying this, the square root and simplifying all these numbers, this is where you need to tell me where you're getting confused at, right? Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, honey. You don't have to borrow it, you can just keep it. Here. Yep. Okay, plus or minus the square root of -7 squared is +49. And then I have a -4 times, well, let's do 4 times -2. That's -8 times -4 is +32. So if you're not sure, how I got +32 is I just put this, I did it in my head. You can put it in your calculator, right? -4 times 4 times -2. and just put it in your calculator, you should get positive 32. Okay? All divided by 8. Beautiful. So then I get x, let's write it on the right side here. X equals 7 plus or minus the square root of 49, 51, 81 divided by 8. That is right, 49, 50, 51 plus 30, yeah, 81. Okay, so then I've got x, am I running out of room? I am running out of room. 7 plus or minus 9 divided by 8. I've got 2 more rows. Okay. And then that gives me x is going to equal 7 plus 9 divided by 8, or 7 minus 9 divided by 8. So 7 plus 9 is 16 divided by 8. And so then I've got 16 divided by 8, and I've got negative 2 divided by 8, which gives me 2 and negative 1/4. Or if we're doing decimals, you could do negative 0.25. Yeah, 1/4 is negative 0.25, a quarter. But you could just put these right here into your calculator, this into your calculator, and it should give you 2, and then put this in your calculator, and it should give you negative 0.25. Okay? Is there any questions? Home, any questions? Do you feel a little better? We're going to do a couple more. Just want to make sure you're feeling better about this, because this is the way to solve. You can solve any quadratic this way anytime. Okay? All right, so number 2, again, not on the same side of the same side of the equal sign. So this time I'm going to move this negative 1. So to move that, I'm going to do the opposite, which is at, why did I write a 2? Okay. Add 1 to both sides of the equal sign, and I get 0 equals 3n squared minus 5n plus 1. Identify A, B, and C. So what does A equal? Anybody? Three, yeah, good. Oh. Sorry. What does B equal?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. And what does C equal?
Negative 1.
A positive 1. See, I moved it to the other side. I can't leave it on this side. I can't do it with it on this side, so I had to move it to the other side. So now it is positive 1. Are we okay?
Yep.
Yep, good. Okay, now I'm going to just substitute it in to my quadratic equation. And I should get, let's see, what am I going to get? X is going to equal minus a negative 5 minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2 times A, which is 3. Then start simplifying. So minus a minus is positive, plus or minus the square root of, let's see, negative 5 squared should be 25. And negative 4 times 3 times 1 should be negative 12, all divided by 6. And then we're going to get x is going to equal 5 plus or minus the square root of 13 divided by 6. And there's no square root of 13. We don't know, right? That's when we're going to have to use our calculators. So that means x is going to equal 5 plus the square root of 13 divided by 6, and 5 minus the square root of 13 divided by 6. And we get out our calculator. And let's see. Sorry, I got to wait for Desmos to open up. So 5 plus the square root of 13 divided by 6 should be, x is going to equal 1.43. And then the nice thing about Desmos is, you can't see it, but I can, let's see. I do want to show you this. So let me open up a Desmos window. I don't know why I don't have Desmos as a Desmos graphing calculator. Let me pull it over here. Somehow there's a way to share both screens at the same time. I still haven't figured that out yet. So we're just going to go the slow way. So once I put this in, right? So if I've got, what did I have? 5 plus the square, oh, I forgot to put it in parentheses. Square root of 13. So I need to put that in parentheses. And then divided by 6. So once I have the answer for the first one, right? I don't have to re-enter it. This is the nice thing about Desmos, because my equation's right here. I can just go up here and backspace and then put in the minus sign, the subtract sign. And then I don't have to retype it in Desmos because there's my second equation right now. The first one was plus, the second one's minus. I don't have to retype that whole equation. I can just change the sign in there, which makes it really nice, right? So I don't have to do a lot of work by just changing it from plus to a minus. I just have to change the one sign. So the second one is what is it? 0.23, 0.23. And there's my two answers. Okay? Does anybody have questions on that? You do have to make sure that top part is in parentheses, though, before you do divide. Okay? Because if you don't, what happens is this. I do 5 minus the square root of 13 divided by 6. See what happened? It put my divide in the wrong place. So you need to make sure that it's in parentheses up here. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that again and move this out of the way. Start sharing this again. Okay, chat. Okay, beautiful. All right. So now it's going to be your guys' turn to try these two, A and B. You guys have your papers, though. You shouldn't need to. There we go. So let's see if you guys get the answers for A and B. Okay, let's go. Stop. So let's do this and see. I know that Alex got it right, but no one else has put up their scores, and you guys are in class, so I want your scores. Wow. Okay. It's definitely time for this weekend to be here. Okay, so A on problem 2 is, problem A. A on problem A is 2. B on problem A is 7. And C is -9. And so then we're going to plug it into the quadratic formula, right? So x is going to equal -7 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 7 squared, minus 4 times a and times c, all over 2 times a. Beautiful. Okay. So I've got -7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus, I think it was 80, no, not 80, 72, yes? I guess I could look at my notes. Yeah, 72. 72, all divided by 4. And then I've got -7 plus or minus the square root of 121 divided by 4. And then, so now if we're going to use our calculators, you can stop there and just put the answers into your calculators, right? But I happen to know what the square root of 121 is, so 11 divided by 4. And then I put my answers in the calculator. I put -7 plus 11 divided by 4, and -7 minus 11 divided by 4 into my calculator. So x ended up being, what did x end up being? 1 and -4.5. And if you didn't put it in your calculator, you would have gotten -9.2, right? As 9 halves, sorry, not 9.2, 9 divided by 2 as a fraction, which is fine. 4.5 or 9 divided by 2, I'm telling you either way is fine. In delta math, you might actually have to enter the fraction. You'll have to see what they say. And then the last one, I gotta make sure everything's on the right side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract W and subtract 6. Subtract W, that is not a W. Subtract W, subtract 6. So I've got 5W squared minus W minus 2 equals 0. So A equals 5, B equals -1, and C equals -2. Yeah. So x is going to equal minus a -1 plus or minus the square root of -1 squared minus 4 times A, which is 5, times C, which is -2, all divided by 2 times 5. Okay, and then I've got 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 40 divided by 10. So x is going to equal 1 plus or minus the square root of 41 divided by 10. And then I just put it into my calculator, right? I put the two different equations in there. 1 plus the square root of 41 divided by 10, and then 1 minus the square root of 41 divided by 10. I didn't write that out, but I'm writing it out for you guys so you can see what you're putting in your calculator. And then I got, for the first one, I've got, not W. I'm so sorry that I wrote W. It's not W. I'm sorry, I wrote X. And of course, I'm highlighting instead of erasing. In this problem, it's actually W is my variable. So W is going to equal 0.74 and -0.54. And that's what the calculator says. Okay?